guys, it is Hunter Unit 751 bringing you the second episode of our Halo Jumping Top 10 series. I am Hunter Unit 751, your host, and we are back to do another episode of the Top 10, where we're going to be discussing anything Halo Jumping related and, well, as the title suggests, make a top 10 out of it. Joining me for this week's episode, or this episode, it's certainly not a weekly thing, we have Chumpy, aka Atlantic Champ.
What's up, guys?
How are you doing, Chumpy?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you? Ready to
I'm good. I'm very good.
Opinions public. Ready to hurt some feelings.
Apparently so. Oh, and just so that we can reference it, Happy New Year, everyone. We are filming this on New Year's Day, 2021. The year
COVID's
that's
officially gone.
Hopefully the year of COVID is officially gone, but very unlikely. So, we are back for episode 2. Last time out, we covered the top 10 jumpers of all time, a pretty big-ass topic to discuss in the first episode.
Very deep.
Yeah, a lot of debate on that one. When we are back for another one, as per usual, guys, of course, this is just our opinions. So I've picked 10 names that I think fit into this category, and then I've got Puma. I've got Atlantic to make his list. He's here, and then Puma has also provided his own list, which I will be reading out for him, and he's also provided me with his reasons too. This is all just our opinion. So if you guys have your own versions of the list, let us know down in the comments below. But let's get into it. This episode's top 10 is the top 10 Xbox One competitors. So
that means if you started on Xbox One, you might be on this list.
Exactly. So basically, this is competitors who have made their debut since we moved to the Xbox One, which is obviously the MCC onwards. We've picked out the 10 best competitors. So it's almost the complete polar opposite of what we did last time. We did jumpers all time, which obviously largely went to competitors that have been around the longest. Now we're looking at the quote-unquote new generation. Who has been the best on the Xbox One, I guess, of the new competitors?
Oh yeah,
wide
a lot of
variety.
names you wouldn't expect to see on a top 10, I guess. But
yeah,
it's pretty exciting to put them up there.
We also mentioned that we're not including competitors that debuted before the 360 or before the Xbox One. So obviously that means competitors like Fireball and Puma, and Vulcan and Flame,
Vulcan,
who've all had their biggest successes on the Xbox One. They can't count as being part of this list because they obviously made their debuts on the 360. So unfortunately, they're not going to be on this list. But let's go through the 10 names that I did pick in alphabetical order. We have an Epic Reshiram, Atlantic Champ, Siren, yourself, Siren, aka Chris, Mighty Max, Paddy Freakin, Petrillo Fam, ROG or RPG 445, Swantron 97, Talking King SS1, and Weapon Matt. 10 names that have had varying degrees of success. I think it's fair to say.
Can we add that this list does not revolve around the minor courses? We are strictly going off of Hunter's course, Smokies, ROGs, and Abs is the
yes,
four
that is correct.
Going off of
major courses.
So,
have major courses, results on major courses, how long you've been competing, that can be taken into account, and then just, I guess, how impactful have these competitors been in jumping. I said there was a lot of names that didn't make the list, and I've got a list that's actually longer. I've got another 10 names, arguably, that didn't make this list. Cheese is life.
Cheese, I vouched for Cheese to get on this list, but
Sonic.
Yeah, I tried my best, big guy.
Sonic, Jante, Kink Sparkedy, Wolf Ninja, Longshot, Clever Alchemist, Killamanoodle. There was loads of names that we looked at, or I looked at. But I think that the 10 that we picked, or the 10 I picked, are the
right
yeah. Oh, and of course, I did briefly for about 2 seconds look at Ninty and the Great Gordini, but you know they sadly they didn't make it either.
That's a
when
shame.
I say 2 seconds, I mean like 1 second for each of them.
1.5.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we might as well get straight into it. Atlantic, just give me your starting from 10. What person you put at 10, and then up to 6, and then we'll go into a bit more detail.
Alright. At number 10, I had an epic Reshiram. At number 9, I had Talking King. At number 8, I had Patty Freakin'. At number 7, I had Petrillo. And at number 6, I had Chris.
Okay, some interesting choices there. I might as well just quickly, so that we don't avoid crisscrossing too much. Puma's bottom 5, starting from 10 to 6. And number 10, he went with Talking King. Number 9, an epic Reshiram. Number 8, Paddy Freakin'. Number 7, Chris. And number 6, Mighty Max. So quite a lot of similarities there. A couple of names that are in opposite positions, but 4 of the 5 names were both in the bottom 5. I guess we might as well start at the bottom. Talking King, Atlantic.
I think what Talking King is lacking is appearances in courses. I feel like he's had really good runs that could bump him up higher. He just hasn't had the longevity and hasn't really competed much.
Yeah.
Like some of the others.
I think going into this, should definitely say that Talking King and Reshiram were the 2 names that I had to pick those 2 from the long list we said, like Cheese, like Sonic, people like that. Reshiram was competing. Reshiram first competed all the way back in Tournament 2, so he's been around. I think he was also in MCC. I'm pretty sure. He competed in my MCC tournament, and
Reshiram?
He definitely competed in at least. He definitely competed in at least one of Smokey's MCC tournaments. And Reshiram actually had an interesting first. He only competed 3 times, but his first 2 runs were very interesting because on the MCC he failed the very first obstacle, and then on his second appearance, the first Halo 5 tournament, he got all the way to the last obstacle and almost cleared stage 1.
Got pretty far.
Yeah.
The big thing that pushed Talking King ahead of Reshiram for me was he cleared in Tournament 14 of ROGs where only 3 people cleared.
Yeah.
And that's big because showing up whenever not many other people showed up, that's really what pushed him over Reshiram for me.
Yeah. I mean, personal best wise, Reshiram got to the 6th obstacle on stage 2 in Tournament 4, which back in those days, that was the last obstacle of the first half of ROG stage 2. And then obviously he had a second half, which was no time limit. Talking King's best performance was getting also to the last obstacle on stage 2. That was in Tournament 12. But of course, like you said, he did clear stage 1 in 14 and finished in 2nd place in that tournament. So one spot you both did agree on was number 8, Paddy Freakin'.
Paddy. I think the big thing with Paddy is that he competed very well on MCC, and we really just haven't seen him since. Like, he's competed, but he hasn't really had the runs that he had in MCC in the slightest.
Puma pretty much put the same thing. He said to me, great start, but was very poor performing after the MCC. I don't think what a lot of people realise is that, at least when it comes to Halo 5, Paddy has made it to the 3rd stage at least once on 3 of the 4 major courses that have ran on Halo 5. So he got there in Tournament 18 on my course. He got there... I think he got there twice, maybe 3 times. I think it was twice on Rog's course.
I think he's only... Has he been there? I don't know.
He's definitely been there at least... He's definitely been there at least twice. He's definitely been...
I can think of one time, but I can't think of the second time.
Personal best was in Tournament 2, and I'm pretty sure he got to Stage 3 in Tournament 7 as well. I think he did because Puma also got to Stage 3 in Tournament 7 on that course. And something that a lot of people don't know, he was the first ever person to get to Stage 3 on ABS. But of course, like you say, I think it is, despite all of that, I do agree that, yeah, this was all early Halo 5. You know, it was the first Halo 5 tournament on my course. You know, Rog's course, Tournament 7, so yeah, 7 tournaments in, but that was still early, you know, considering he had 19 tournaments. And if he was the first person to do it on ABS, then that would have been early into ABS. But personally, you know, I think, you know, he's been to Stage 3 on 4 major jump courses. Yeah, he's probably... we know how good of a jumper he is. He's just not really shown it. He's lacked in the consistency. But yeah, definitely. I could make a case that he has had more success, even though it was longer ago. He's had more success than a lot of other people have on this list. So let's go to your number 7, Petrillo.
Yeah. With Pedro, I believe that Pedro hasn't really had a breakout run yet. Yes, he cleared in his first time running Smokies. Those are all really good runs. I think he did good in a recent ROG tournament as well.
Got to the curtain cling.
Yeah, he got past that sweaty cliffhanger. It took me 4 times to do it. Really impressed by that. We just really haven't seen him do much yet because he hasn't competed much yet. He's still very new, and I think there is still time until he hits his, peak.
The only way Petrillo could have been higher on anyone's lists is if every appearance he'd made on a major course he'd got to Stage 3 or further. So that's really the only thing that's the reason why Petrillo. It's just, I mean, it's testament that he's been here for such a small amount of time and he's already made this list.
It's crazy, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things that as long as he keeps going, keeps going forward, keeps at it, he's going to get better and better. He's going to get more consistent.
I will say Pedro has the brightest future on this list. I just don't think he's there yet to move up any higher on this list.
Yeah. I suppose it's hard for me to say anything on Pedro on my side of the course because he has just the one run so far shown in Tournament 20 when he got to the flying chute, which is also a great debut run.
Definitely.
I'd look forward to seeing more of him, and you guys can look forward to seeing more of him in 21 and 22, which is to come. And finally, I guess on the bottom half, we got Chris. You put him at number 6, and Puma put him at number 7. What? And because I know Chris gets these comparisons with Paddy, what puts Chris above Paddy for you?
What puts Chris above Paddy is in Tournament 20, everybody wiped out on that Stage 2 but him and Fireball. That is... I said it earlier, if you're able to succeed when nobody else succeeded, that's a really, that bumps you up high in my opinion, the guy points. But Chris, I believe that he can be the best jumper on this list, but we just haven't seen him do it in a Ninja Warrior format course.
Similar to Paddy, he has the skills, but maybe just hasn't shown it consistency-wise.
For sure.
I think the closest we've seen that consistency is on Smokey's course because he's cleared Stage 1 I think he cleared it like 3 times in a row. 18, 19, 20. Got to stage 3, obviously, was one of only 2 people to do that on probably one of the hardest stage 2s there's ever been. Did really well on stage 3 as well, and I think would have got a lot more credit for that run if, obviously, Fireball hadn't gone on and won the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If both of them failed stage 3, he'd be like way higher in the guy points. I say guy points, but that just means he's more noticed, I guess, is the way I'm looking for.
I think when it comes to Chris, Puma has said a similar thing. He's said best jumper in his opinion, but not consistent enough or way too inconsistent. Yeah, it's a tough conundrum with Chris. Chris has done well on Smokey's course, I think.
He's done all right on Rog's course.
In the Halo 5 era, I think Chris is up. I would put Chris probably in the top 5, maybe.
If you're talking just raw jumping ability, I'd definitely put him in the top 5. But as far as in actual competitions and recorded tournaments,
I think it's the other courses that let him down. He's done all right on abs. I'm pretty sure he's beaten stage 1 a few times on that. He's cleared stage 1 5 times on Rog's course, but one of the problems there is that they're spread throughout the entire history of Spartan Sasuke. He's been in 16 of the 19 tournaments, and his first clear was all the way back in tournament 2, which was also when he had his personal best. And his other clears were in 5, 10, and then I think he cleared in the last 2 tournaments. So
I think so, yeah.
Consistency, yeah, that's probably an example of his consistency being all over the place. And then my course, again, it's difficult because there haven't been as many tournaments. He's yet to clear stage 1, but he's got to the flying chute several times. Yeah, I think Chris is a competitor who could definitely be higher on this list going forward if he can find the consistency.
Right.
Yeah, I think we'll come on to Mighty Max because he's on the bottom 5 of Puma's list in a minute.
Okay.
I think, yeah, we'll see where he and the other members of the top 5 are on your list, Atlantic, starting from number 5 to number 1.
All right. For number 5, I have Rog. For number 4, I have Mighty Max. For number 3, I have Weapon Matt. For number 2, I have myself. And for number 1, I have Swan.
Okay. Puma's top 5, starting at number 5, he has Pedro Petrillo. Number 4, he's put Rog. Number 3, he's put Atlantic. Number 2, he's put Weapon Matt. And number 1, he's put Swantron. So, 2 episodes in, we will shortly celebrate the fact that we have 2 people who have both agreed on the number 1, but we'll get to that later on.
Yeah.
Let's start with Mighty Max. So Puma put him at number 6, but you put him at number 4.
Mighty Max, this is strictly Rog's course. The reason why he's not higher is because he seems like he's really only succeeded on Rog's course so far. But when he's on Rog's course, he puts out a heck of a run each time, every tournament. There's always been a top veteran on Rog's course, and it's been me and Mighty Max competing for that slot up until this tournament. So Mighty Max is he's one of the top guys on Rog's course, but unfortunately on the other ones, it's just he hasn't been there. I
think hopefully he won't mind me revealing this. I once had a messaging conversation with him where I was like, "Hey, just so you know, my new tournament. I assume it was 22. My tournament 22 was starting, and he was saying, I'll do a run at some point." He said something in the message that made it sound like he was going to do like 5 minutes worth of practice. So I messaged him back. It's like, "Oh no, you can take as much practice as you want, you know." we want to see you clearing stage 1. And then he came back to me and said, oh, I'm just putting all my focus into Rog's course. I just want to do well on that course. And that's kind of shows the positives and the negatives of Mighty Max. People don't realize just how much dedication he puts into Rog's course. He's been so solid, and he's put so much hard work in.
He got 3rd place last tournament, and he failed an obstacle that was put in last minute by Rog.
Exactly, yeah. So. You know, he had a personal best in the final Spartan Sasuke tournament. I think the reason why Puma has him at number 6 is not in the top 5 is because of the fact that he's really growing as a jumper and he has huge potential, but he just needs to show that potential on the other courses now. Even if that means maybe he could end up having a dip in form on Rog's course. If he has to do that, but he ends up getting success on my course and Smokey's course, you know, it could propel him higher up the list and propel him, you know, into greater heights.
Right.
Of course, he's got an advantage now because Rog isn't hosting another tournament on Halo 5, so he could theoretically put in that practice that he's put in on Rog's course into the other courses. If we host other tournaments, you know, spoiler alert. So let's look at Rog, number 5 on your list, number 4 on Puma's list. I think it's pretty obvious the reason why Rog is so high on the list, but I'll let you take it away.
I wouldn't say Rog's done pretty good in other tournaments, but I think the big reason why he's so high on this list is not for running tournaments, but hosting tournaments. Exactly. He hosted easily the most successful course on Halo 5. I don't think anybody can deny how good his course went in this game, and that's
if we did a top 10. If we did a top 10 on new tournaments that started on Halo 5, I think it'd be
number 1.
I think it'd be pretty fair to say Abs probably comes in at number 2, and then Rogs comes in three blocks down the line in number 1, because he'd be that far ahead.
Oh yeah.
19 tournaments hosted in a little over 5 years. And
19.
I think
that's crazy.
As soon as we saw Rog's first tournament, you know, obviously when he hosted it, we just thought, oh, okay, this is another course. This is a new course. This is a new guy called Rog. Let's try it out. We did it. We had fun. But then when he released the tournament and we saw, I mean, yeah, the graphics were pretty basic, but they were still better than most of the courses we've ever, you know. A lot of people have hosted little courses. A lot of them have never uploaded them. But those that have uploaded them don't usually put in a lot of effort with the editing or with the graphics or whatever. But Rog did that right from the start, and then it's obviously built it further from there. His graphics, his editing, his special effects are all, I mean, just, you know, comparing it from Tournament 1 to the most recent tournament, if you look at them now, they're fantastic.
His editing and his courses, I definitely take notes on for my own course for sure. Yeah,
I think I can't describe enough how inspiring Rog would be to some of the younger competitors. Like he watched my tournaments and he said he was inspired by me to run his own course. He set up his course now, and he's absolutely probably inspired a new group of people to want to host their own course.
Definitely me for sure.
People that might not even have an Xbox yet. You know, they might be waiting to get the new Xbox and get the new Halo and then join jumping. They might, you know, once they get there, they might want to start their new course because of Rog. And I think that's huge. That's huge testament to him. And that's all down to his hard work. I don't want to focus entirely on his course because that would be taking away from the good performances he has had as a competitor. Puma referenced it. Puma referenced it in his notes. He's had a couple of great performances on Smokey's course. obviously the
he
tournament
got
19
second place in tournament 19. So
beaten only by Fireball, and he was part of that quote unquote new generation of jumpers that broke through in tournament 19.
Flame and Rog.
And obviously it helps that it gives him higher prestige, because obviously out of the three of you, he got the furthest, he did the best, and alongside you, he carried that into tournament 20 and cleared stage 1 again.
Yeah, for sure.
It would be very interesting to see where Rog goes from here. I think he will be hoping that he can have, because tournament 19 was a breakout run on Smokey's course, and I'm sure he'll be hoping to have more runs like that on my course and Smokey's course going forward. Okay, so then let's go with. Well, let's look at both at the same time. Why? Let's ask why you are above Matt, and then I will compare that to Puma's, because he's obviously got it the other way around. He's put Matt ahead of you.
I think what puts me ahead of Matt, a final stage is a final stage, that's for sure. And I think on me on Smokey's course, I broke out recently, and he broke out on MCC and kind of fell off. Is that fair to say for Smokey's course?
I think that's justified a little bit more. Yeah.
And I'm coming up recently, so Smokey got to stage 4. A final stage is a final stage, but he got to the final on Smokey's course when 2 other people got there, and it took 6 tournaments for somebody to get to a final on Rog's course, and it was me. So I think that's what put me ahead of Matt. If I didn't get to stage 4 in 19, Matt would for sure be ahead of me. But
yeah,
I think that stage 4 definitely pulled me ahead of him.
What I would say, or what Puma would say, is, I use the word again, dedication. He's put you down as being one of the most dedicated competitors, really cares about jumping, consistent, and justified all 3 of those things with the fact that you got to the final stage on Rogs. And that was kind of the breakout run, wasn't it? Because that was your first time clearing a cliffhanger, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that was
Maybe
definitely a breakout run, but I think it started in tournament 14 when I got first place.
Breakout probably is the wrong word.
On stage 3.
Yeah, breakout's probably the wrong word. The next step up, let's say. You almost took getting past the cliffhanger might have been like just one step forward. You almost took 3 steps forward, because you did, because not only did you clear the cliffhanger, but then you obviously pushed on and then cleared stage 3. Some people might have to take multiple attempts to do that, but you managed to do it all in one go. And yeah, the final stage didn't work out, but you got there.
I mean,
and
yeah.
How many people have done it on Rog's course? 6 or 7 people?
How many people have tried it?
How many people have got to the final stage?
Yeah.
I think the reason why Puma has Matt above you is because he saw how good Weapon Matt grew into on the MCC, and then obviously saw it going into Halo 5. I
think another big element, and as why I feel I should be ahead of him, is there's 4 courses we're going off of here, and that 4th course, I can't think of anything Weapon Matt did in Aborigines. But I've been to
actually, that's a good
3.
point. Actually, I'll give you that. That is actually a very good point. I'm not sure. I don't think Matt's competed in many ABS tournaments off the top of my head, and I'm absolutely certain. Yeah, he hasn't cleared stage 1. But at the same time, you could say he was, he was consistent on MCC. He got to stage 2 3 times. Came out of nowhere to get to stage 4 in another tournament. That could have been me and Gotanks on the final stage, and friggin' this little kid comes out of nowhere and not only joins us on the final stage, but ends up kicking both of our asses. I think he came within about I think when the clock hit 0, if my memory serves me correctly, he was 2 jumps away. People forget, in the very next tournament, the first Halo 5 tournament, he got to the last jump on stage 3. He kind of... I think Weaponmat is, if you actually looked at his results, is similar to Paddy, but just a little bit better. He had a good start. He had great performances on the MCC, with the end of the MCC being his best run. He had a great start to Halo 5. And
then just slowly
made it to the third stage in the first Halo 5 tournament on my course, getting tied for first place alongside Paddy and Fireball. And then, like Paddy, I think he's also done pretty well on Rog's course. I know he's got to stage 3 once, and I think he's got to stage 2 quite a few times.
He has a second place in tournament 12, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But then, like Paddy, he then, after his good start to Halo 5, then had a long, bad stretch of results where maybe he wasn't, I don't know all the details, wasn't putting in enough practice maybe just, didn't have the time to practice. And so his results fell away. But I think the big difference with him compared to Paddy is that he's now kind of picked it back up a little bit.
Yes, he's definitely... You can see if you watch any of the minor courses, he's definitely going back into his groove.
Yeah.
You haven't seen on the major courses yet, but he's definitely winning my course. This doesn't affect anything, but winning my course and Irish's course, he's definitely... getting back into it.
I think that's a good... I think you versus Matt actually is probably the best example we've had over 2 episodes so far of debate, because there's probably... Whoever watches this video and whoever comments leaving their own list could... it could, for all we know, it could be a 50-50 split in the comments. Half of you could put Atlantic at number 2, the other half could put Weaponmat at number 2, and you could every single one of them could have their own different reasons. And I think that's the great thing about why I want to do this show, just to provide the debate. No debate whatsoever, though, when it comes to number 1. Swantron97, aka Sauron Sucks. Take it away.
Swan had... This is mainly going off of Rog's course, but I think that's all he really needs to get number 1 on this list. I mean, so many stage 3s, and he was the first person to ever clear Rog's course in run order-wise. Fun fact. Got to a final in tournament 13. Started to fall off a little bit recently, but he almost cleared to 19, so he's coming back. Definitely coming back. And he's done good on Smokey's course and your course as well. So he fits all the requirements. And he also is a co-host of Abs, which had a big effect on Halo 5 jumping.
In a different way, I think it would be said. Yeah,
He fits all the requirements.
If he had tick boxes as to what would get you at number 1, he pretty much ticks every single one of them. The only thing he probably didn't tick is being a commentator that doesn't swear. Is probably the only box he didn't tick. But
yeah,
that's the reason why we love Abs. Let's be honest.
Abs is definitely PG-13.
Yes. I mean, Puma, he says, just pure and simple when it came to Swan, best jumper, the guy on Spartan Sasuke.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe it's just me looking at it, but I don't know if by Puma saying the guy on Spartan Sasuke, he, in his opinion, he thinks Swan is the best on Spartan Sasuke, which would be a hell of a jump, you know, when he's comparing him to Ump, who has a total victory, and Smokey, who has 2 total victories. And like you said, getting to the final stage was probably hard work finally paying off. The only thing, I guess the only other thing he was missing was a total victory.
Yep, definitely.
And yeah, I guess alongside that, looking at the other courses, yes, of course, it's with the kids. He actually, you know what? I know what to compare him to. He is the me of Spartan Sasuke in the way that I am on Halo Ninja Warrior. That's probably the best way to look at it. The most consistent competitor has a lot of the records, but could provide debate as to whether he's the best competitor when you compare him to the guys that that got total victory.
Right.
And yeah, sorry, as I say, looking at the other courses, obviously there's been less tournaments to compare to, so you can't really compare the consistency on those courses to Rog's course, but got to stage 3 on a smoky course, came in 3rd place. I think he got... did he get as far as... I think he got further than where Rog got to in 19.
Yeah, I remember at one point everybody was talking about Swan possibly being the next All-Star. I remember when that was a debate in jumping for a while. Yeah.
And my course, rocked up on his debut, cleared stage 1, and then in the most recent tournament that went up, Tournament 20, got to stage 3 for his first time. So,
yep.
I think, yeah, Swan is a very justified number 1 on this list.
Yes.
But just to finish off then, I guess, and so that you guys don't have to watch the whole video again, Atlantic, let's do your full top 10, starting from number 10 up to number 1.
All right.
The order.
At number 10, I had an epic Reshiram. At number 9, I had Talking King. At number 8, I had Patty Freakin'. At number 7, I had Petrillo Fam 4. At number... Wait.
6.
6, sorry, I'm bad at numbers. At number 6, I had Chris. At number 5, I had Rog. Number 4, I had Mighty Max. At number 3, I had Weapon Matt. And at number 2, I had myself. And number 1 is Swantron 97.
And Puma's list, starting from number 10. At number 10, we had Talking King. Number 9, an Epic Reshiram. Number 8, Paddy Freakin'. Number 6, Siren or Chris. Number 6, Mighty Max. Number 5, Petrillo Fam. Number 4, Rog or RPG 445. Number 3, Atlantic Champ. Number 2, Weapon Mat. And number 1, in agreement, Swantron 97. Oh god. What a way to end.
Okay.
What a way to end the video. Yeah, I guess that brings us to the end of episode 2. Atlantic, thank you for joining me. I've really enjoyed this one. Maybe actually enjoyed debating this one more than the first one, because we had a lot more, ifs and buts about different people. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Leave in the comments down below your versions of your own top 10s. Where would you have put these 10 names, in what order?
Who's number 2, Matt or Atlantic? That's the big question.
Would you have put Swan at number 1? Would you have put Atlantic or Matt at number 1? Would you have put someone else that we took off the list? Would you put them in the top 10? If you have your own idea for a top 10 that you think would be a good one to do, leave that in the comments below, although the chances are, whatever you say, I've probably already got it on my long list of ideas. And yeah, I guess we will see you for another top 10 very, very soon. I will leave you with my own version of the top 10 list. We'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye. Oh, God. Oh, God.